Well, hello, everybody. Coming at you. I popped into school today to make some videos and to check some work to make sure everybody's turned stuff in. It appears that you guys are taking a little break from doing your work. Just not a good idea. It's going to catch up on you and you're going to have some trouble. So take my advice. Keep up with your work. Don't let it bog you down. Otherwise, you're going to be spending Christmas break getting caught up. No, but that's no fun. All right. Everyone seems to be doing well. There is one particular class, they know who they are, that are behaving not as I expect them to be behaving. So need to ship shape, get that taken care of. Okay. All right. So today's lesson is today is Monday, November 29th, Cyber Monday. There is a little video about Cyber Monday, where it comes from, why it's there. I want you to first start with your vocab on pages 33 through 35. Again, you don't have to turn this in. I will look at your books at the end of the quarter and collect how many vocab words you have completed for your grade. So it's going to be a completion grade for that one. So distribution will be your word for the day. Have a look at that and give you about 3 minutes to work on that. And then we're going to go ahead and watch the Cyber Monday video. I'll have my video posted up here for those of you who need it. Today's evaluate. Evaluate is a gradable. So you really want to work on this one today. So here is your learning target. You're going to apply your knowledge of uneven distribution of resources to water. So we know from last unit that resources are not distributed evenly, and water is no exception to that. So we're going to analyze and interpret the data that provided evidence for the effects of resource availability on organisms, populations of organisms in an ecosystem. So what that means is, how does not having water affect where people live, affect how people live where they live if there isn't any water? So there are people that choose to live in places that don't have water. So how do they compensate for that? So think about that today. All right, think about the evidence that you find. I did find a really cool video on overpopulation and water scarcity. Might be something you're going to want to watch. It does have a lot of really good information in it. I watched it all the way through, so it's not too long, and I think it's got some good information that will help you write your research. Okay, so you can use that part, that evidence, that video as evidence. So what you're going to do today is the Culminating Project. The Culminating Project is the final project. Okay, so don't misunderstand me. So a lot of you did not turn in your assignment, your project from last quarter. The Culminating project, which I give you one day every week to do, is just a piece of the puzzle for your final project. So if you do each piece of the puzzle, then at the end of the unit, you'll have those pieces together. So if you turn in something, is better than nothing. All right. So what I need you to do today is think about, and you don't need to work with your group yet. Okay. So you're still doing research. All right. Research, I want you to all know what you're doing before you get together to come up with your solution, come up with your solution to a water scarcity problem. But first, we need to understand a little bit more about how people behave in an environment that doesn't have water. Why do some places not have water? What geologic process? Remember, the geologic process are those processes like the plate tectonics, ice flows, glaciers, mountain formations, hill formations, river valley formations. Those are things that the earth provides through geologic processes. And they only happen in certain parts of the world. Why is that? Because of plate tectonics. Okay, we learned that in the first quarter. So what I want you to do today is think about that specific information and explain why water is not available equally throughout the world, focusing on the process. Okay, so what process makes a lake, right? So think about what process makes a lake. Is it diversion? So do I have do I have two pieces of land that pull apart and then the groundwater fills up and that's what makes a lake in the middle of nowhere? Perhaps. Okay. So what other things could be going on? Do I have subduction where I have two pieces of land crashing into each other, forming a mountain? Okay. And then I have another mountain over here, and then we have a valley in the middle. What happens in the valley? Does the valley collect water and then in the middle of those two runoffs, we have some water going on? Okay. So think about the process, the geologic process that created those bodies of water. All right. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. All right. Now, so that's the main thing I want you to focus on, because the other two are pretty much common sense. All right. How are some humans using more than their fair share? Okay. You can research that. Are some people hoarding it? Or some people collecting it? There is an example in Arizona. It's illegal to catch rainwater. I think it's Arizona. It's a desert area. They wanted to catch and collect rainwater so that they could water their crops and their gardens and whatnot. Well, the town or the state next to them is like, no, you can't collect rainwater, because if you collect the rainwater, then it doesn't go back into the groundwater, and then I don't have the water into my lake, which feeds the fish and and then doesn't go back into the water cycle. So how would me collecting rainwater and holding it for myself, how would that affect another ecosystem down the road? Okay, so that's kind of what I'm thinking about with that one. And then what are the effects on environmental systems? What is the effect on an environmental system? Like I just said, if I'm collecting rainwater and I'm not allowing that rainwater to go back into the water cycle, what could that potentially do to that area? Okay, so if there's no water in that area, are we going to have a water cycle going on? You have to have water in the air in order for it to precipitate, right? In order to have precipitation. You have to have condensation in order to have precipitation. All right, so think about that. Think about what are the effects that humans are doing that are actually causing environmental issues. All right, so think about that, look at that, really do dig into some research. All right, and then write your notes on page 17 in your notebook. And I do also have that in Google Classroom, where I want, that way I can see it. So I'm going to show you. In order for me to grade it from home, I need to be able to see it. Now I can grade it. I can stop in on the weekends and grab your work, but that's going to delay the process. So here in Unit 2, Task 2, I have, this is explain for Task 2, which is due, overdue, and then Task 2, which you should have done, you could have done also as a Google form. And then evaluate is here. So this is where I want your notes. And if you want to write them first and then put them in here, that's fine. So explain why water is not available equally throughout the world, focusing on the process. Okay, think about the geologic process. How are some humans using more than their share? Just give me a list. That's fine. And then what is the effect on the environmental system? All right, actually give me some thoughtful answers on that. Now, here is the rubric that I will be grading it from. And if you look at the rubric, I am looking for these vocabulary words, okay, which I'm going to have to fix. This rubric doesn't have the vocab words that I'm looking for. I'm looking for a complete and accurate explanation for the causes of uneven distribution of water, and a complete description of how humans are making the problem worse. Okay. And then your paragraph uses more than one piece of evidence and one or more cause and effect relationship from task 2 to support your explanation. And you reference the group location. So in this one, it's asking, where has your group decided on for water scarcity? And if you look at the video that I shared with you, in this video, there is a map that has some good information about where in the world you could potentially focus on. Okay. Again, here is the rubric as well. These are the words I'm looking for. So if you build these words into your paragraphs, that will help bump your grade up here. All right. So here's the rubric that I'm looking for. All right. Hopefully that makes sense. I really want you to pay attention to this one and really do your research. Whatever you find, research-wise, whatever you find that is a really good source, I'm going to highly recommend that you copy and paste the URL of that website that you found that information on and just put it in here. It's fine. That way you can get it later when we are doing the final project. Okay? So take your time with this today. Don't horse around. Don't waste your time messing around. Just focus on the task at hand and do a good job. All right? Hopefully you guys are doing well and you had a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you soon.